Of all of this, I want to call you on this. 2 weeks ago, we had you in. You said that there was slight reason for optimism. 2 weeks later, it seems the only change is more dead people.
Yeah, anybody who was optimistic, including me, we were wrong. It seems that the slight hope we had that negotiations would lead to some sort of resolution of this, the Russians rejected the signaling from Zelensky. Zelensky rejected all of the Russian demands, and the result is that the Russian troops, which have been stalled, have taken to killing civilians because they can't make any progress on the ground.
Professor, how big of an embarrassment is this for Vladimir Putin? He's now 5 weeks into all of this, and his troops really aren't gaining all that much ground.
Yeah, I think it's tremendously embarrassing for the Russian military. Everybody thought the Russian military was much more qualified, capable, competent, disciplined, well-trained, and well-equipped, and it turns out they are none of the above. I think that some generals are going to probably lose their jobs over this, and I think that there's going to be a big reckoning in the Russian military once this is over.
Whenever that might be. We saw NATO leaders meeting today. Now, they're not going to get directly involved. They're steadfast on that, but they say they will keep supplying the Ukrainian military with humanitarian and lethal aid. What does that mean, and what sort of a reaction could we see from Putin? Because NATO countries might not be directly involved, but they're very much a part of this.
NATO countries are very much involved in sending weapons to Ukraine to help the military there resist. We haven't sent any planes over there, and we haven't sent any troops over there, but we've been sending other sorts of weapons that the Ukrainians have been able to use to fight off the Russian advance. And Putin has said that any aid convoys, any aid going into Ukraine is a legitimate military target. So if he sees it, he'll order them to be attacked, if the generals see it, if the Russians see it. And if that aid is seen as coming from Poland, as coming from Slovakia, somewhere else, we can hope that the Russians will be restrained in not attacking a NATO country directly and making Ukraine just a proxy war. But we just don't know how far the Russians will go. They've already shown that they're willing to attack civilians and kill civilians. If Putin is desperate and the Russian military feels desperate, how far will they go? I don't want to be alarmist. I'm not scared of World War III today, but we do have to think about what the Russians will do.
Professor, how can this end? In what way, if at all possible, can Putin still save face? Because it's clear that without committing basically the entire Russian army to Ukraine, he's not going to entirely take the country. How does he save face and get out of there?
Putin has said there are two main goals that he wants to accomplish. One is the demilitarization of Ukraine, and the other is the denazification of Ukraine. There are some Nazis in Ukraine. The Jewish president of Ukraine is not one of them, and so that's just kind of a story. But if he can come away with an agreement that Ukraine will become neutral, not join NATO, not be part of a military alliance, and if there can be some sort of election or change of government, and if Ukraine will acknowledge that Crimea and some other territories are part of Russia, then I think you can come to an agreement. But those things are very difficult to sell.
So, Professor, very quickly, and I know that this is an impossible question to really answer, but do your best. Take me through the next couple of weeks. If we have you back 2 weeks from now, where do you think we'll stand?
I hate making predictions. But I think that sometime in the next couple of weeks, you will see more progress in negotiation. Now, you were right to call me on it. I said that 2 weeks ago, but I really do think that the Russians are going to realize that they can't afford to keep this war going. The Ukrainians will realize they really need to stop the Russians from killing their civilians, and there will be some compromises, and the Ukrainians are probably going to have to acknowledge that they don't control all of their territory anymore.
Dr. Gerry Gendlin of Edinburgh University gracing us with his time tonight. Expert analysis into all of this. Professor, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.